Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Srinivasa Biology Tutorials. The last previous sections to discuss NCERT line to line biological classification part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Now this is part 5 continuation. In this section to discuss the content is the kingdom of fungi. Now the kingdom of fungi. See, in this kingdom fungi, it is most constitute of the fungi is constituted of a unique kingdom for the heterotrophic organisms. The fungi groups are mostly in a heterotrophic organisms. Means they are most depends upon the other organism for their food. They are shown as a great diversity of morphology and habit. They show as the different morphology and then habits. And you must be seeing that fungi is a moist and bright routine fruits. You fungi seen in moist bricks and then routine fruits. And basically the common mushrooms you eat, if the toadstools also they are fungi. Mushrooms and toadstools, these are completely they are in a fungi members. Like you see that in a agaricus, basidio agaricus, these are the in completely at the part of in a fungi. And in these fungi there cause diseases also, like see the white spots seen in mustard leaves are due to the parasitic fungus in the mustard leaves. When you notice that in a they are mustard leaves, in these mustard leaves also to get forms as here some white colored spots we notice. That spots are nothing but as what they are completely in a they are fungus. Now in some unicellular fungi their example is yeast. Yeast are nothing but as it consists of Saccharomyces. Yes, the yeast are used to make bread and beer. Mostly get used as in a bread and beers. And other fungus their causes as a disease plants and animals. Now only we see that here the brassica, they are nothing but as in the mustard leaves also their white spots means that causes disease. Am I right? Here these plants and animals, these fungus are their caused. Now here they given as the wheat rust causes Puccinia is the important of very examples. Here it is in a Puccinia, the white spot disease in Brassica, it is the best example. And here some fungus they are used as some are the source of antibiotics. Example Penicillium notatum. Here some fungus are used as completely antibiotic also. The example is what? Penicillium. Next, the fungi is cosmopolitan and occurs in air, water, soil and animals and plants. Fungi to completely called as a cosmopolitan means they're present as in everywhere. You see that in air, water, soil and animals and plants, everywhere the fungi is present. And they are preferred to grow in warm and humid places. They growing as in that warm conditions means temperature regions and humid regions also this fungi will be to survive. And there you have ever the wonder why we kept food the refrigerator. When we making that food, we keep on the refrigerator. Why? Because in these fungi, completely these fungus they are completely collapse their food. Hence, we are placing as in a refrigerators. And yes, it is in it to prevent that food from going that bad due to the bacterial or fungal infections. Just I said now here some bacterial and fungal infections they are complete to collapse that food. Hence, we are make complete that food the completely placed in refrigerators. Next, within the activation of yeast, which are then unicellular, their fungi are filamentous mostly. You see that in yeast is a unicellular. Yeast is a unicellular, and the remaining are completely has in a filamentous form. Remaining has in a filamentous form. Now, the body consists of as in a long, slender, and thread-like structure. It is called as in a hyphae. Now you see as in one fungal member. In this fungal member, they complete their body to get appear as in a long, a thread-like structure. In this thread-like structure is called as what? It is completely hyphae. It is called as what? Hyphae. Okay. Now in this a group of hyphaes to get forms like a group of hyphaes to form as a group or colonies. This is called as a mycelium. It is called as a mycelium. See here hyphae, this network hyphae is known as mycelium. See this network mycelium, that hyphae are called as in a hyphae. They are completely mycelium. This hyphae is continuous tube-like filled with is a multinucleated cytoplasm. This or condition is called as a xenocytic hyphae. See in this entire the one hyphae there consists of cytoplasm is present. It contains as what? Cytoplasm. It is filled with as a total cytoplasm is present, and as well as it contain as in a some nucleus as present, multi-nucleated condition also they are present. That condition is called as in a xenocytic condition. Multi-nucleated condition is called xenocytic conditions. Next, after here, these cell walls are fungi. They are composed of chitin and polysaccharides. In this enter the cell, they enter the cell. They are made up of completely in a chitin as well as in a what ma? That is in a polysaccharides. Fungi cell wall is composed of chitin and or chitin or polysaccharide. Next, most of the fungi are completely heterotrophic organisms. Most of the fungi is heterotrophic and absorption soluble in the completely inorganic matter from dead substance, and hence are called as saprophytes. When the fungi to get uptake to as any food for the dead organisms, that is called as saprophytic organisms. And if in case they depends upon their living plants and animals, that is called as parasitic fungi. When the fungi to depends upon their food or shelter into as a living organism like as in plants and animals, that is called as parasitic fungi. Next, they can also live as symbiotic association with algae lichens. It is a roots and completely called as in plants in mycorrhizal. Here some groups mostly in algal and their fungal components, algal and their fungal components to complete to get forms as lichens, to get forms as lichens. These are completely symbiotic association. What is the symbiotic association? Algae to give as food for the fungi, and this fungi to give as to shelter for the algae. They are both are completely their symbiotic association. They again after get development. It is in a example you see that in a mycorrhizal roots. Example mycorrhizal roots. And after in this fungi, what type of the reproduction was takes place? In that completely in fungi, what type of reproduction was takes place? See the reproduction in the fungi takes place by the vegetative means, fragmentation and fusion and budding. Mostly the reproduction was takes place by in a fragmentation process, binary fusion and then budding process. And here the sexual reproduction it takes place by as spores. That spores are called as conidia. Mostly the spores, the asexual reproduction, mostly here the asexual reproduction takes place by here the asexual reproduction. Here the asexual reproduction takes place by the spores. What type of spores there takes place? They are conidias and sporangiosspores, zoospores like. These are the completely asexual spores. And how the sexual reproduction was takes place? The sexual reproduction by oospores, ascospores and basidiospores. It is oospores, ascospores and then basidiospores are to get formed in that fungi. Next, the various spores are to produce or distinct structures is called as fruiting bodies in the different stages to get forms as different fruiting bodies. For example, see here in the Phycomycetes to get forms as oospores and Ascomycetes to get forms as ascospores and Basidiomycetes to get forms as basidiospores like. Okay, now the sexual cycles they involve there are three steps. In the total sexual process, they are involving either three steps. The first one is plasmogamy, second one is karyokinesis, the third one is their meiosis division. See first, what is plasmogamy? The first one to discuss about as plasmogamy. Plasmogamy means the fusion of protoplasm to motile or non-motile filaments. See, the fusion of protoplasm between the two motile or non-motile gametes is called as plasmogamy. If you take as it is a one filament, it is an another filament. They exchange the genetic material. They exchange their protoplasm, that is called as in a plasmogamy. And then second one, fusion of nuclei is called as in a karyogamy. After in this nucleus, they both are fused to get forms as in a zygote. To get forms as in a they are zygote. This both nucleus to complete to get fused to forms as in a zygote. To form as in a zygote. Yes, now this total fusion of nucleus is called as in a karyogamy. That is in a karyogamy. Next third step, that is in a meiosis in zygote, resulting haploid spores. Now then, what happened in this? The zygote further to divided into meiosis division to get forms as in a haploid spores. To get formation of in a two haploid spores will be to get formed. This is completely called as in a the meiosis in zygote result formation of haploid spores. Okay. Now after when a fungus is reproduced sexually, the two haploid hyphae, the compatibility mating types to gather and to fuse. Means here this is in one filament, it is in another filament. There is a complete to compact to and to get fuse. And some fungi, their fusion of the two haploid cells immediately result to form as in a diploid cell. If in sometimes in some their haploid cells to complete to get fused to get form as in a they are diploid cells also. Next, however, other the fungi like as in Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes, the intervening the dikaryotic stage n plus n, the two nucleus per cell, it is occurs in the condition is called as in a dikaryon, or this phase is called as a dikaryotic phase. Here for example, it is in a single cell. In the single cell has in how many nucleus? The two nucleus as present. If this is complete, this condition is called as a dikaryon condition or dikaryotic phase. Later, the parental nuclei, the fuse with as an cell become diploid. When to get formed, they both are fused to get formed as in a the diploid nucleus will be to get forms. Next, after the fungi to fruiting bodies formation. Here, after the fruiting bodies, see this the fungi formed as in the fruiting body, which the reduction division occurs leading to formation of the haploid spores. After development, what happened to get formation of the completely haploid spores? Next, the morphology of the mycelium, mode of spores formation and fruiting bodies, and basis of the division their kingdom into various classes. Means in this fungi morphology based on and mode of spores formation and formation of fruiting bodies, these characters based on the fungi to again classified into as any different classes. Now see that what is their classes. The first one is Phycomycetes. The first one is what? First one is Phycomycetes. Now in this Phycomycetes, these members of the Phycomycetes are found in aquatic habits. Means mostly they are present as in a only in water habits. Mostly they are present as in a water habits and decaying woods and moist and damp places or obligate parasites on the plants. They are growing as an aquatic habit means water conditions, and decaying woods means decomposing complete the decaying woods, moist and damp places obligate parasites in plants. Okay, next in this mycelium it is septate and cenocytic condition. Here what is septate condition, what is the cenocytic condition? See, when you take as any one completely one filament, one fungus filament, in this fungi filament some they having some cross walls as present. In these cross walls are called as any septate. These cross walls are called as what? Septate condition. What is cenocytic condition? Before only we discussed, in this in the cytoplasm number of nucleus as present, that condition is called as any cenocytic condition. Septate means cross walls as present. Okay. Now, sexual reproduction is takes place by through zoospores, like as in a motile or applanospores, that is in a non-motile. Zoospores always in a motile. Here zoospores has in a always motile, because why? These are completely having as in a their flagella. Here zoospores has in a flagella. But aptenospores, the flagella will be there completely absent. Flagella will be completely absent. Next, these are spores are endogenous. The spores are to get formation of which manner? Within a endogenously, means inside of the sporangium to get formation of spores. Endogenous means inside of the sporangium. Exogenous means outside of the sporangium. See, the sporangium. Next, these are endogenous to produced by as in a sporangium. Next, the zygospores are formed fusion of two gametes. These are gametes are similar morphology, that is called as isogamy, dissimilar in anisogamy or oogamy. For example, in this enter the sporangium to get release as in some spores. That spores are they are similar in size. That is called as an isogamy. That is called as what? Isogamy. If in case they having as any dissimilar, that is called as what? Anisogamy. That is in a anisogamy. And what is oogamy? The female is large and male is small. Female is large and male is small. When to get fuse, this entire the process is called as in a, that is in a oogamous process. Isogamy similar, anisogamy dissimilar. Oogamy means female is completely large and male is small. Gamete this enter the fusion to completely called as what? Completely oogamous. Now, these some common examples they given mucor rhizophus, that is in a bread mold that mentioned the earlier parasites fungi in mustard. So they given as in this is our aspergillus and it is in a completely the formation of see in that formation of first one this is in a mucor and the second one is aspergillus and the third one is to get formation of agaricus basidiocar. This is completely in Phycomycetes. Next, second one is Ascomycetes. The second one is what? Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes is called as a sac fungi. It is called as what? As second one, the second class, Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes is commonly called as a sac fungi. This Ascomycetes is mostly in a multicellular. In that previous section, to discuss the mostly the fungi has in the yeast in the unicellular. The remaining they having as a filamentous form. Yes, now? Now, in this Ascomycetes, the mostly in a multicellular. It is in a multicellular. Example, penicillium are rarely unicellular in yeast. That is in a Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Now, they are in a saprophytic decomposers, parasitic, they are caprophilus growing on the dung. They are decomposers means that to grow as in dead organisms are parasite to depends upon the living organisms or caprophilus means which they are completely fungi to grow as in the dung that is called as in caprophilus. And now see that in a mycelium is in a mostly branched and the mycelium is the branched and septate. That is in a mycelium is branched and septate conditions and branched septate. The asexual spores are conidia to produced by as in exogenously. If in case entire these spores are to get produced as in a there is in a exogenously means they are outside to get produced as in a spores. This is in a exogenous condition. Exogenous condition. Now this special mycelium is called as in a conidiospores. Each one is called as what? Conidiophore. Conidiophores. In this conidiophores, the each conidia to get germinates into to form as any one single mycelium. Each one to get germination to produce as in a mycelium. Next, sexual reproduction is ascospores, which is produced by as an endogenously. Same here. The ascospores is endogenously. Ascospores are the endogenously to get formed. It is a sac-like structure is present. This sac-like structure is called as an asci. It is called as what? Asci. Okay. And ascus. Singular is plural is asci and singular is ascus. These are the asci are arranged as in different types of fruiting bodies is called as in a ascospores. These are complete to get formation of this entire these are called as in ascocarps. These are completely ascocarps. Examples are given here. Some, they're aspergillus and claviceps, neurospora. These are the best examples. Here, neurospora is used as extensively the biochemical, the genetic works. Mostly they get used as any biological extensive work purpose to get used as any this neurospora. Next, the members like as in morels and truffles, they're edible and they're considered as in delicious. Means in this morels and the truffles, they're completely used as in they are edible because they're having as any delicious means sweetness. Okay, this is in a ascomycetes. Next third one, they are basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes are commonly called as in the bracket fungi. They're including as what? Mushrooms and puffballs. See, in this here, the basidiomycetes is commonly called as any. They are mushrooms, bracket fungi, puffballs. These are the in basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes to grow as soil, longs, tree stumps, and living plant bodies like as any parasites. They are growing as any soil, longs, the tree stumps, and living plant bodies like as any parasite. And the rust smuts. These are completely there. This basidiomycetes is like a rust and smells also. The mycelium is branched and septate condition. They having as in a branched. The entire the mycelium is that is in a that branched and the septate conditions means here the cross walls also to get present. Here cross walls also they are present. Next, the asexual spores are generally found in the not found. Here the asexual spores are not found, but the vegetative reproduction by fragmentation is common and sexual reproduction is completely absent. Here asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction is absent, only vegetative reproduction was present, and that is in a fragmentation process. The very most important point here, but plasmogamy is brought about by fusion of two vegetative or somatic cells in different stages of the genotypes. Very, very important this point here. Here mostly the vegetative reproduction, how to take place? By the plasmogamy to brought the fusion of two vegetative or somatic cells different stages of the genotype. When these two vegetative cells to get complete to get fused, what happened? To form as in a dikaryotic, the ultimate gives rise to as in a basidium. After to get forms as a dikaryotic condition means you have to get forms as in a the two nucleus to get forms. In this two nucleus to get forms as what? To produce as in a basidium, to get forms as in a basidium. And the karyogamy and meiosis was takes place, the basidium produced as in a basidiospores. It is to get produced as in a completely in a basidiospores, to get produced as number of basidiospores. And these are then exogenously the produced as in a basidium, that is in a singular it is a basidium, plural is in a basidia. The basidias are completely the arranged as in a fruiting body is called as in a basidiocarps. After to get forms as in a completely to get forms as in a the number of basidiospores as to get produced in a endogeneously, that is in a basidiocarps. In some common members of in a agaricus, mushrooms, and ustilago, smuts, puccinia, rust, fungus. These are the best examples for the in a completely basidiomycetes. Next last one that is deuteriomycetes. In this deuteriomycetes mostly is called as an imperfect fungi. This deuteriomycetes is commonly called as an imperfect fungi because they are only having a asexual or vegetative phases are known, only that we are noticed. And when the sexual forms of these fungi we are discovered, they are moved into as classes, they are rightly belongs to. When this discovered as an asexual reproduction to get following. This also they are possible to as an asexual and vegetative stages have to be to one name and to placed under the deuteriomycetes. So when this only vegetative reproduction and asexual reproduction was present, that characters based on we placed as an A completely under deuteriomycetes. And the sexual stages are another to placed under the classes later when they are linked to their established the fungi we are correctively the They're identified and moved out to deuteriomycetes. When to discovered as a sexual reproduction, then deuteriomycetes to get replaced to as any another developed kingdom. Okay, now another here where they discovered they are in often moved ascomycetes and basidiomycetes. Then now only. Next, the basidiomycetes the reproduced only by asexual spores is known as an equinidias. The mycelium is septate branched. Some members of they are saprophytic parasites, while the large number of them are in a decomposers, a litter and help to as in a mineral cycling. In some examples are given Alternaria, Coleotrichum and Trichoderma. So most of the numbers we are get act as in a saprophytes and parasites, and a large number of we are used as in a they are decomposers and mineral cyclings. Examples are incomplete Alternaria, Coleotrichum and then Trichoderma palisporum. These are the completely information about fungi kingdom. Okay, remaining to discuss in next class. Thank you all.